Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so we don't have much to go. I'm so excited. This is the second to last part of our book study. So let's get at it. So we just talked about yesterday messages and how there's informational strategies to get certain messages out. How primacy effect and regency effect influence us, message discrepancy, appeals to emotion, fear appeals, and now we're going to talk about positive emotions. Okay. All right, so let's get started. It's interesting that just as fear helps induce a change in attitude, so does positive emotion. In one study, people were more likely to agree with a series of controversial arguments when they snacked on peanuts and soda than when they did not eat. In another study, participants liked a television commercial more when it was embedded within a program that was upbeat rather than sad. Research shows that people are easy to influence when they're in a good mood, depending on the situation. Food, drinks, a soft reclining chair, happy memories, a success experience, breathtaking scenery, laughter, and good music can all lull us into a positive emotional state and make us ripe for persuasion. I think that last sentence is the most critical. So depending on the situation, food, drinks, la 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 la, lull us into a positive emotional state and make us ripe for persuasion. Okay. According to Alice Eisen in 1984, people in a good mood see the world through rose-colored glasses. Filled with high spirits, we become more sociable, more generous, and more positive in our outlook. We also make decisions more quickly and with relatively little thought. The result, positive feelings activate the peripheral route to persuasion, facilitating change and allowing superficial cues to take on added importance. I think that last one is the important part. Result is positive feelings activate peripheral persuasion, facilitating change, allowing superficial cues to take on added importance. Okay. So what is it about feeling good that leads us to take shortcuts to persuasion rather than the more effortful central route? There are three possible explanations. One is that a positive emotional state is cognitively distracting. It causes our mind to wander. It impairs our ability to think critically about persuasive arguments. So we're too distracted by being happy and enjoying the thrill of the feeling to really get down and be critical of something. Okay. I'm going to highlight that. Okay. A second explanation is that when people are in a good mood, they assume all is well, and they let down their guard and become somewhat lazy processors of information. So you trust that when you're happy, everything is copacetic. Another highlight. Okay, and the third explanation is that when people are happy, they become motivated to savor the moment and maintain their happy mood rather than spoiling it by thinking critically about new information. So not only is it more difficult for us to really get any further than superficial understanding of things, but we are motivated by wanting to stay happy to push away the instinct to think critically. Okay, so even when we're trying, we can't. But when we don't want to, we want to be happy. Okay. All right, so those three make sense. Okay. I think all three of those are important. And I think a lead-in to type into my notes is 3 possible explanations, about feeling good that lead us to take shortcuts. Okay, this last notion, the one about people wanting to maintain their happy mood rather than spoiling it by thinking critically. This last notion raises an interesting question. What if happy people are presented with a positive and uplifting persuasive message? Would they still appear as cognitively distracted or lazy? Or, if they're happy and presented with a positive, uplifting, persuasive message, would they pay close attention in order to prolong that rosy glow? To find out, Dwayne Wegener and others in 1995 showed some college students a funny segment from a late-night entertainment show. Others, less fortunate, watched a somber scene from an HBO movie called You Don't Have to Die. The students were then asked to read and evaluate either an uplifting article that they agreed with about a new plan to cut tuition, or a distressing article they disagreed with about a new plan to raise tuition. And in half of these cases, the article they read contained strong arguments, and in other cases, the arguments were weak. Did the students read the material carefully, enough to distinguish between the strong and weak arguments? Those in the somber condition clearly did. Those in the happy condition, however, the response depended on whether they expected the message to be one they wanted to hear. When the happy students read about a tuition increase, they tuned out and were equally persuaded by the strong and weak arguments. But when they read the proposal to... So when the happy students read about the tuition increase, boo, they just tuned out and were equally persuaded whether it was strong or weak at the same percentages. But when they read about a proposal cut, yay, to tuition, they were persuaded more when the arguments were strong than when they were weak, because they were in a good mood and were receiving an agreeable message that wouldn't spoil it. They then took the effortful central route to persuasion. All right. I'm going to highlight that last sentence. Being in a good mood and receiving an agreeable message stops you from this whole feel-good disconnect thing. All right.